Hi, everyone. For people that are not aware, the Liberal minority government is now attempting to have sweeping new powers that has been unprecedented in the entire history of our country. Since it was founded, the finance minister and his or her office has never in the history of Canada had the ability to spend money on anything they wanted to without seeking the approval of the House of Representatives. For people that don't know, the Liberal government in the last day has proposed a new bill as part of the stimulus bill and also new legislation for the virus, dealing with the coronavirus, which is a serious issue that we need to take very seriously. And inside this bill, they have proposed that the finance minister, for the next 18 months, has the unlimited freedom, unhindered from any other representative, to spend on any project that they see fit, however much they want, of our revenue. Our revenue that the government collects, the government revenue, the government of Canada collects revenue through taxes and other means. All that money will be spent however the Liberal government, or more specifically, the finance minister and his office decides it should be spent. And why should this be concerning to Canadians? Because if we live in a country where all the revenue is spent without seeking the approval of our House of Representatives, then we could no longer say that we are living in a very healthy democracy. Because what we choose to spend money on influences what kind of society that we live in. Obviously, right? And everything that any revenue that the government of Canada collects, rightfully so, before it gets spent, needs to find the approval of people that we, the citizens, have elected. So what the government of Canada is attempting to do right now is to circumvent the process of democracy, where our elected officials have the right and obligation to discuss and vote on whether or not a proposed budget can actually be put in action or not. If this bill passes, essentially the finance minister will no longer need to seek the approval of the House of Commons. And this is unprecedented. Canada in its history has never done something like this, not in World War I, not in World War II. We have emergency measures that lock down our freedoms and liberties for times like these. I'm okay with that on a temporary basis, but to give the finance minister 18 months of unprecedented power to spend however he and his office wills is unacceptable. There's essentially removing one of the major points of having a House of Commons, a group of representatives that we elected. So this should frustrate every Canadian. And there is no excuse that the Liberal government has to suggest that for the next 18 months, they are going to allow the finance minister to spend on anything they want. And I'm not including that, but also tax however he and his office wants. So they can increase, decrease taxes, they can change the brackets, they can anything to do with money and the revenue of Canada, how it's spent or how it's collected. The finance minister would have unchallenged powers. And all of our representatives will not be able to do anything about it. Think about that for a second, okay? We as Canadians should say absolutely no to this kind of legislation. And even though the Liberal government has now redacted their bill because they're in a minority government and the other parties have said we're not going to sign on to that, thank the Lord. Just the fact that that was even proposed is so offensive because it's 18 months. Obviously, they would use that for other things other than COVID-19 and the crisis that we're in. So, honestly, the Liberal government has lost my vote. That one misstep was so major and so insulting to what we as a country have developed in today that I am proud of to say that we live in a strong democracy, because it was almost, guys, it was almost, and it still might be, removed from us, our democracy, right now, under our noses. So we should all be not okay with this. We should make it so loud and clear that the government of Canada, that the minority liberal government has no right to limit the ability of our ministers, our elected officials, to be able to vote and support and discuss tabled budgets that the finance minister chooses to enact. He can just basically spend however he wants. So I hope that you share this amongst your friends and families. You can share this video if you want. I don't care. But we need to do something about this. If they come back with a bill that continues to give unprecedented powers, we need to challenge that as Canadians, and we need to get the word out that this was unacceptable.